Hi everyone, welcome in. My name's Andy. My pronouns are they, them, and I go by the crowstitcher here on YouTube and Instagram. And today is Flosstube 21, I think. And it's, what is this, Tuesday? It's Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. Uh, it's been a bit. It's been a little bit. I did post on my community tab that I have been really busy with my candle business and have been living down in my studio. So I would get a floss tube up when I could. I do have a show this Saturday, and I had a few wholesale orders that I was prepping for and making candles for. And I was going to wait till next week to do a floss tube, but I had some time today and I have so much to show that I really didn't want to let it drag on any longer because I have a feeling this is going to be quite a long video as it is. It's almost a mini whip parade, quite frankly. So, for anyone who doesn't know, first of all, welcome in. Thank you to all my returning subscribers and anyone who might be new. Welcome in. I appreciate all of you. For those of you who don't know, I do own a small candle business called Morning Moon Candles. And the morning is spelled Mourn, as if someone is in mourning, because all of my candles are murder mystery themed. So this time of year is really busy for me, like I've said in previous videos. And while I am down in my studio making candles, a lot of that time is spent waiting for the wax to reach certain temperatures, whether it's reaching a high enough temperature or reaching a low enough temperature to pour. So I do get a lot of stitching done, but I'm not up here at my desk or anything. I'm down in my studio. So I've gotten a lot of stitching done whilst making all these candles. Um, Someone did ask if I had a website for my candles, and I do. It's morningmooncandles.com, and again, it's Mourn. But I'll try to remember to put it down in the description box below. They're all soy candles, hand poured by moi. Um, and I do have wax melts and things like that as well. Again, all soy. So, and all murder mystery themed. So, I will try to remember to put that my website link down below. But y'all, I have this whole bin plus some on the floor that couldn't fit in the bin. So let's just get right into it. Now, I do have my notes for the crosswords that I finished and the clue that I finished and deer sighting and etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull and then tell you what I stitched on it for. And things that were stitched on more than once, I'm not going to show more than once because you already will have seen it. So let's just get started. Let's just get into it. This is, I use this for a crossword. Which one did I use it for? There we go. Oh gosh. Okay, so the last video I did was a 2025 unplanning plan video. And I talked about the cross the words, right? Um, where I have a wheel of God, wrong way. I have a wheel of all kinds of like Halloween and goth words, etc. And I spin the wheel, and whatever word it lands on, so let's just spin it as an example. Dreadful. So if it lands on dreadful, I then match a whip to each of the letters in dreadful. So D could be the like uh, a letter D in the title, a letter D in the artist name, or a letter D in something like an object in the whip. So dreadful could be, the D could be um, Dracula, my whip, the Dracula whip by Lena Orna over Lena Lena Ova. And then I keep going around filling in the word with whips. And then when I complete a word, I get a bobbin, which equals $1 that I can use as my own currency that I can then use for spending to purchase whips or to purchase patterns or things like that. Okay, so the first one I am going to show you is The Favorite by Omar Rayan. It's charted by Unconventional Cross Stitch. It was a new start. It's one of the charts that I purchased after Unconventional's fire. And I used it for one of the O's in Broomstick, which was... I've had 3 words. I think I'm on the 4th word. So Broomstick was 1 word. Thriller was the first word. Then it was chocolate. And then it was broomstick. And I've completed all 3 of those. And now I'm on cackle. So I'm doing this 1/1, 28 count. And it's like I said, it was a new start. So that's where I am. It's a tiny new start. I don't remember. Oh, I can tell you. Hold on. The Favorite. I'm gonna try to put pictures in, but there might not be pictures for, like, if I have to insert a picture, that might not happen this time around. Just letting you all know. Not apologizing for it. Just letting you know, if you don't see an inserted picture, it might not happen this time. I have 362 stitches for my start out of 183,300, and I'm at 0.2%. So this is a lot of background. If I don't put the picture in, it's like a little girl in a white dress holding a demon with a rose in its horns, which is hilarious, and I love it. But this kind of like all of this is going to be curtain and background. There's like wall and then a red curtain that goes behind her. The colors are really, really pretty. I was partially drawn to this because of the colors. And then obviously just the girl holding a pet demon. I mean, that's great. And my demon's name is Kyle. Because that's what I named him. Oops. But yeah, I don't know if I will have time to be able to go and edit this one. So if you don't see pictures, like if I have it on that I can show you on my tablet, I will show you. But I don't want to hear any comments of, you didn't insert the picture of what it will look like this time around. I don't have time to do that. So, what is this? Oh, this was This is Old Fashioned Dragon. This is how today's video is gonna go. Okay, this is Old Fashioned Dragon. Artwork is by Stanley Morrison. It is charted by Pain Free Crafts. I love this guy so much. I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. And this was for Clue. This is one of my Clue pieces. And let me get up and so I can tell you stats. Old Fashioned Dragon, I have 1,147 stitches out of 94,500, and I'm at 1.21%. And I stitched on this for Clue. I got 200 stitches in it for one pull. It was scarlet with the knife on the Old Fashioned Dragon. And then I also worked on it for one of the O's in chocolate for old. Shit, which way does this go? This way. I just almost dropped my... I think it goes this way. I haven't put more, like, I put more stitches on it. Thinking, oh, I'll be able to tell which way it is. And then now I can't. I think it's this way, though. I did a center start on this. Because I was feeling spicy. Or is it this way? No. It's this way. It's this way. Because this is the bit of his neck, and then this is his wing, and then this is the bit of background in here. So this is that little bit of background, so I did like in here. See? There we go. And then this is his wing coming up the side. So it goes that way. The colors in this are really, really pretty. I love it. I can't wait to get more in. It is a Clue piece, so you will see it again. My Clue pieces, get switched out from Clue when they reach 5,000 stitches of just Clue stitching. So I worked on this once for Clue, which it got its 200 stitches in for that. And then I worked on it again for one of my words, but whatever I did for the word does not count towards the 5,000. So the Clue, once this reaches 5,000 stitches from the Clue game itself, it will be replaced with another piece. And the Clue game, for anyone who's new, I made a Clue game. I have envelopes with 3 envelopes with cards in them. I explained this before. I'm going to explain it again for anyone who might be new. There's a card with people like Mrs. White, Mr. Green, etc. The 6 weapons, rope, knife, etc. And then the rooms. The rooms are my whips. So Old Fashioned Dragon is one of the rooms. And then what happens is the people and the weapons each have a number of stitches on them from 50, every 50, from 50 to 300. And Dar picks one card from each envelope. So a person, a weapon, and a room, writes it down, does not tell me who it is. They all go back in, and then I have to pull until I find the murderer, the weapon, and the room. And so what I do is, let's use Old Fashioned Dragon as an example. Let's say I pull a person and a weapon, and their stitches equal 200 stitches. Let's say the first one was 150, the second one was 50. I add them together for 200, and I stitch that on Old Fashioned Dragon. So when I say clue, that's what I'm talking about. Oop, that envelope has to go back over here. Okay. Next, this is, I can't show this one. This one is my secret project that I'm stitching for Dar. And I cannot show it on here because Dar does watch my Flosstubes occasionally. My whips just fell over. So this is a secret project. I licensed a photograph from Shutterstock and charted it myself. And it is full coverage, and I am stitching it. I'm not going to tell you a percentage or anything. However, anyone who is a Ko-fi member, either tier, my $3 tier or my $6 tier, knows all of this. They know what it will look like. They know my stats on it, and they also get progress photos for when I work on it, and get like a visible chunk in. Like, I'm not going to put 200 stitches in and then upload an update photo on Ko-fi. But when I get a good chunk in, I do put it up, and so Ko-fi members can see my progress on this. So that was nice and quick because I can't show that to y'all. Okay, this one is Lilith by Unconventional Cross Stitch. Unconventional X Stitch is who charted it, and who, look at the card, Christopher Lovell. I should know that. Oh my god, I have so many of his pieces. Okay. And what did this was a new start. Again, it was one that I purchased after the fire. I worked on it for a crossword, I think. I worked on it for the L in chocolate for Lilith. And I have 210 stitches out of 455,200, and I'm at 0.05%. And it's not much to see because it is just the hell? It is just the small start. Let me try to get this so you can see a bit better. Okay, so I have just the first diagonal, first 20 wide diagonal. I mean, it's gorgeous. Look at that. That's the tree. There's like a bunch of tree on the top left start. 1/1, 28 count. That confetti, as you can tell, is no joke. This took me forever. This took me forever. But I think it's going to look stunning. And my word for... Oh no, I already did the L and cackle. Oh, I'm going to stitch this for... So, Mr. Green was the... I just solved a murder this morning, and Mr. Green was the murderer. And so whenever I solve a murder, I have split my projects up into 6 categories. And whoever was the murderer, I pick a whip from their category and then put 1,000 stitches into it. And Mr. Green is the legacy full coverage category, and so I'm going to stitch this. I'm gonna put 1,000 stitches into that for Misty Green. Not in one day, just, 1,000 stitches before I solve my next murder, basically. Solve my next clue. But that's what I did that for, was the L in chocolate. Okay. We're already 20 minutes in. We've been to what, 3 whips, 4 whips, and we're already 20 minutes in. Okay, what is this? Oh, this is Nixie. Okay, Nixie. Give me a second. Nixie. First of all, let me tell you what I worked on her for. I worked on her for the R in Thriller because she has ruffles around her collar. I worked on her for the H in chocolate because the artwork is by Heather Kramer, so the H for Heather. And I worked on her for the K in Broomstick because Heather Kramer is the artist again, so the K for Kramer. And I also worked on her for the K in Cackle for Kramer. So she's gotten a lot of work. Let me get the stats for you. She now has a total of 4,464 stitches out of 202,500, and I'm at 2.2%. And I'm stitching her 1/1 on 25 count. And this is what she looks like at the moment. And can you, those bubbles, can we just take a moment, can we just take a moment to appreciate these bubbles? It's washing out a bit. Oh, there we go. That's the sort of more the color. Well, no, they're not washed out. It's definitely more green. There, I guess, is sort of. But look at those bubbles. And I obviously am doing this in diagonals. It looks much more brown in the lighting. It's very green. Like this is green. Nothing's really helping. This is so gorgeous. Love it so much. I've been really into it. And I'm also stitching this for JC Sketches monthly craft along, which is themed Out of This World. So that's why I've been kind of trying to get it in a lot this month. So there is that. I would like to get, I don't know where to put this. I'm just gonna throw it over there. I would like to get the rest of the diagonal done before the end of the month to finish out that diagonal for his craft along. Next month is Crafty Dynamite's month, and she's tossing around two different themes, and I think I have something picked out for both themes, so we'll be good to go. This next one is Abstract Yule Tree. I call it Abstract Yule Tree. It's actually called Abstract Christmas Tree. I don't celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Yule, which are two different things. By Sir Kai, Aquila Ink, and it's charted by Stitches So Beautiful. It is full coverage. All that background is stitched. And I'm stitching it 2/1 full cross on 20 count Ada, and I did a top right start, which is unusual for me, but again, I wanted to spice it up. And I stitched this for two things, I think. I stitched it for the A in cackle for the abstract, the A in abstract. And I stitched it for clue, didn't I? Yes. It came up in clue for Mr. Green with the rope and in the abstract Christmas tree, which was not correct. Mr. Green and the rope were, but not the abstract Christmas tree. Let me get you stats. Oh, I just dropped it. Let me give you stats. I have a total of 17,287 stitches out of 160,000, and I'm at 10.8%. And I was having a real good time with this. I got the stitches in I needed for clue, and because I spin the clue has the set stitches, and then when I use it for a word or anything like that, I spin a wheel, and it from 300 to 500 stitches, and so I forget what it landed on, but I did those stitches, and then I was having such a good time with it. I just kept going. So this is where it is at the moment. So like I said, a top right start. You can see the stars coming in there on the right side, and like the gases or whatever from the background, like the spacey background. And then this is the top center of the tree. So I filled in a lot of the confetti in here, focused on the tip of the tree, filled in a lot of this section here, came down here, and then this. And those colors are showing up pretty accurate. And I think this is going to be so pretty. Just like, look at that from afar. It looks so good. Oh, love it. So this is a clue piece, and like I said, it will remain a clue piece until it gets 5,000 clue stitches. Okay. This is Winter Wonderland, I think. This is Winter Wonderland. Artwork is by somebody. Philip Straub. Charted by Hade. I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. In the diagonal, and what did I stitch on this for? Let me get you some stats. Oh my gosh, I have it in here. I'm looking at the wrong device. No wonder why I couldn't find it. I have 4,147 stitches out of 220,000, and I'm at 1.88%. And this is what it will look like. I did a top left start. 1/1. That's the sunlight. That's as good as you're gonna get. 1/1, 28 count. It is what it is. There you go. Left hand start, top left. And I worked on this for the C in one of the C's in chocolate, because it has a castle in it. And the S in broomstick for Philip Straub, the artist. And that's it. And this is where I got. Move my needle minder. Look at that. I love this piece. It is just like that tree. Oh, look at that coming together. Beautiful. So I worked in all my parked threads on this diagonal here. So like this bit of the tree, this diagonal, and then I went back up to the top of the diagonal and started filling in coming down. So that's what I did. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay. This is a regular full coverage, but I love it so much. I don't know. I might. No, keep it. Keep it. Keep it in the categories it's in, because otherwise you're just going to confuse yourself. Okay. What is this? Oh, this is Absinthe Cthulhu. This is by Echo Chernik. It's charted by Unconventional X Stitch. I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. And I think I just worked on this for sketches out of this world. No, I worked on it for the A in chocolate for absinthe. And then I worked on it a bit more for the out of this world. And we're going to go all the way back down to the bottom again for this. I have 1,360 stitches out of 229,936, and I'm at 0.59%. And when I started this piece, I was not doing diagonals, and then when I worked on it this past, since you've last seen it, I did convert it, or I did start to convert it to diagonals. And it's, again, the greens aren't showing up well. It's much greener in real life, I promise. It looks kind of gray on the camera, but it's green. It's really pretty greens. So I worked in all on this diagonal here. I think I filled in some of the second diagonal, like finished it off, and then the third. And also my clever girl. If you know, you know. Love it. So there's not much to see at the moment. It's just like the border going into the words at the top there. So, okay. Let me pull some up from that I have on the floor, and we'll get these. Okay. What are you? You are Heart of Black and White. Which I worked on for the B in broomstick for black. That's on here. This is, I don't know. Oh, Jesus. This is by Sir Kai. Aquilin ink. Charted by Stitch is so beautiful, and I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. Oh, I didn't write down what category this is. This is a legacy full coverage. And it will... I have 4,643 stitches out of 134,000, and I'm at 3.46%. And this is what it will look like when it's done. So pretty. The sleepy black dragon. Those roses, the candles, beautiful. Love it. And I started converting this to diagonals. Don't mind this other stuff. Here, let me just... Don't mind this. This was another piece that I'm doing it on the other side. It's fine. It'll get cut off. Here, let's do this. This is where I am. I did start converting it to diagonals. So the last time I showed this, I had kind of one started up here, and then I went to the next one and started filling in that diagonal. So I kind of did all of this 20 wide here. And I'm just going to keep going down and fill the diagonals in this whole triangle before I move on. But look how gorgeous those candles, like, no words. It's so pretty. So gorgeous. Love it. Love it, love it. Okay. Let me go back in there. I need to write that on there. Just work on that one. Alright, the next one is It's Halloween Night. And, oh, I worked on this for Uno. Okay. I have to explain that. Okay. I worked on it for the E in Thriller because the artwork is by Eder Jose Rosa, the E for his first name. I worked on it for the I in Broomstick for It's Halloween Night. And I worked on it for my group 3 from one of my Uno pools. So let me explain the Uno for a second here. I got this idea from Siski Stitches. She took her 10 charts that she was using for her temperature stitches, put them on the wheel. So, you know, whip 1, whip 2, whip 3, etc. And then put on the wheel reverse, skip 1, things like that. Like things that you find in Uno, right? And I liked that idea, except I don't like being told exactly what whip I have to work on. So instead of whips, I made groups. And I have group 0 to group 15, I think. Then I have skip 1, reverse, forward, skip 2, reverse 2. And so what I do is for my groups, group 0 to group 15, I went and pulled 3 whips. There's not that many in here at the there's not that many. There's not that many in here at the moment because I pulled out 3 for each group. So for group 0, let's say I pulled out Dragon Magic. These aren't the ones, but we're just using this as an example. Deja Vu and Gone to Pieces. Those 3 whips would then be assigned to group 0. So if it landed on group 0, I can choose from one of those 3 whips to stitch. So I did that for all of them. And what I do is I spin, and whatever it lands on, so if it lands on a group, let's say it lands on group 15. Whatever I have for group 15, I put it in my Notion. Give me a second. Group 15 is Watchmen, Hot Chocolate Dragon, and Women Come and Help. So if it lands on 15, I can then choose from one of those 3 projects to work on. Then let's say next I spun forward 1. I would go forward 1 to group 0, which is the Colors of Life, Midnight, and Pumpkin Dragon. So I would pick one of those whips to work on. And I spin the wheel to tell me how many stitches minimum I need to do, like 300 to 500. So one of the things I spun was group 3, and It's Halloween Night was in that group. So I chose to work on It's Halloween Night. And I am at 15,041 stitches out of 102,000, and I'm at 14.75%. And this is what it will look like when it is done. This is one of my priority. I called the group the category Priority Parade. So it's one of my priority parade pieces. Just hard to say now that I'm saying it out loud. Top left start, 1/1, 25 count. And I did start to convert this to diagonal. Two diagonals. So this is where I am total. It's so gorgeous. And I worked mostly down here, finishing this diagonal and then starting the next one down here. So because I do use a hoop, I'm going to, I don't know, it's sort of cut in half already, or separated in half because of how I originally started stitching it. So I might continue with the diagonals just to where, like, down here, and then go up and finish those diagonals here till I get the full. We'll see. We'll see how I feel like doing it. Because they're too long at the moment anyway now, so I'd have to move my hoop anyway. So that's what that one is looking like. Okay. All right, the next one was White Queen. This was also a new start. I stitched this for the C in Broomstick because the artist is, Chris Ortega. Charted by Hayde. I'm doing it 1/1 on 25 count. And it's just a new start. I think I did that first little diagonal as well. I did a little bit more. It's just 310, so there's really not going to be much to see. But I'll feel it anyway. It's I'm doing it 25 count. Did I say 28 count? This is 25 count. This is 1/1 on 25 count. And what did I say? 324 stitches out of 536,300. I lied. 324 stitches out of 536,673, and I'm at 0.06%. And I have my little teeny tiny start up here. Top, that's the back. That's completely wrong. Give me a second. Give me a second to get my life together. Hold on. What the hell? Okay. I'm doing it this way. It's this way. Let me get my board. Okay, there we are. It's 310, except for this. This little bit here is 3371. It's the curtain. There's curtains again. So that's what I'm stitching. Top left. Nothing really enthralling, but you know, you gotta start somewhere. Okay. Next. I don't know what this is. Oh, I do know what this is. This is Mystical Forest. This was, excuse me, we're getting to some deer sighting pieces. This was a new start. So for my deer sighting pieces, I chose 5 whips. Every time I see the deer in our yard, I can choose from one of 5 whips to work on, or projects, because some of them are new starts. The Deer and Bird, the Mystical Forest, Festive Reindeer, Nordic Goddess, and Midwinter Mush Gloom. So I worked on Mystical Forest for 2 days, day 3 and day 4, and I spun 300 stitches each time. This is, I'm doing this 1/1 on 28 count. A Mystical Forest is by Dream Cafe Art, and it's charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. And I got to 563. Oh, I didn't do more than that. I didn't even do what I'm short like 37 stitches. I'll have to fix that. I have 563 stitches out of 640,000, and I'm at 0.09%. There we go. 28 count, 1/1. And this is what it looks like. Top left start. So I finished the first diagonal and then started on the second. It's looking really pretty. It's very confetti heavy. Not as bad as Lilith to start off with, but I did know it was going to be confetti. Like she warned everyone that it was going to be heavy confetti, which I honestly really don't mind, especially doing the diagonals the way I do them. I really don't mind. As you can see, I do, this is a good example actually, because people ask me how I do my diagonals a lot. And this is a really good example, because I do cross country in the diagonal, so I do 20 stitch wide diagonals, and I do cross country, so you can see that I did do cross country in here. And I either end the thread if there's no more in the diagonal, or within a reasonable, so like let's say a diagonal over here, right? If there's stitches here and then stitches up here, I'm not going to carry that. I'll end the thread. But anyway, I either end the thread if there's no more, or no more within a reasonable distance, or I then park in the next diagonal. So that's what these all are. So then I will go in, and next time I work on this, I'll fill in the rest of that diagonal and continuing to park. And then when I get to this diagonal, I worked in the park threads first. So I do like what it'll look like that. So cross country within the diagonal, but then parking in the next diagonal. You can see the first diagonal is completely filled in. So that is that one. I saw the deer again this morning. Oh no, I lied. I saw the deer last night for dinner. I was making dinner and I looked out I had let Xena out and went to refill my water before I started making dinner. And refilled my water bottle. I went to get her and she was in the backyard and the deer had just jumped over our fence and they were in the yard with her, like just all minding their own. But it was obviously later in the day, so I didn't stitch my deer project yesterday, so I have to do it today. So I'll choose one of them to work on. All right, this next one I don't have stats for. It's got the Morbs by Modern Folk Embroidery. I'm sure a lot of people know what this looks like. I'm stitching this 2/2 on a 28 count even weave I dyed myself. And I can tell you that I only got 40 stitches into this because I worked on it one of the days I went to pick up Child from ballet. And so this was a car stitching and I got 40 stitches. That's it. I did these two lines. They came out here. 20 on the top and 20 on the bottom. So I dyed this myself and I am using Witchy Night by Cottage Garden Threads. So that's all the progress I got on that. But like I said, it was like 10, 15-ish minutes in the car. So okay, this next one is Moonlight Crop, which I think I just worked on for Clue. Yes. I worked on it once for Clue. I pulled Mr. Green with the revolver in Moonlight Crop, and it was 300 stitches. So I now have a total of 929 out of 171,500, and I'm at 0.54%. Did a top left start, 2/1 on 14 count. And that's where it is. So I finished off this diagonal and then started on this one. And you can see the tree branches starting to come in there. It's looking really pretty. I love the colors on this. And yes, I know there's not a lot of border on the sides. It was just a sheet of 14 count Ada that I had in my stash, and it will fit on it, so I made it fit. And then whenever it gets done, that's the framer's problem. So I really love this, and I'm enjoying the 14 count. It's nice to have. I like to have different counts. Keeps it a bit interesting. For me, I know some people with eyesight and things like that, they have, certain counts that they won't work on, and that, or just because they don't like it, and that's totally legit. Okay, this is The Watchmen. Artwork is by Lisa Parker, charted by Hade. I am I don't know. Gotta scroll back up. I have a total of 2,678 stitches out of 335,500, and I'm at 0.8%. And I'm doing it 1/1 on 22 count. And I used this, I think, for just the R in broomstick because it has ravens. And this is where I am. So I finished filling in the parked threads in this diagonal and then started from the top and started working my way back down. And filled in a lot down here too. Like there were a lot of this got filled in. So, oh, it's washing it out. It's blue, like you can see the blue there, but well, maybe there, I don't know. It looks like the coverage is bad if I turn it that way, but it's not. It's washing it out a bit. But that's where I am. I love this piece. I love Lisa Parker's artwork. I have quite a few of her pieces, and you will see at least one more during this video. And I have one planned to start next year with Tanya from Stitching Addicted. We're going to start the Hubble Wubble square, which Siski is also stitching. Somebody else is stitching that. I don't remember. Okay, Halloween 13 by Noosa Creations. 1/1 full cross on 18 count. Ada, and I used this for the H in Thriller for Halloween, and I think that was it. Yeah. So, I have Xena. I have 1,129 stitches out of. She has her spicy chicken sandwich. Do you want to come? Do you want to show your spicy chicken sandwich? Do you want to? Do you? Come on, you can show your spicy chicken. Come on. Good girl. Okay. See, it's a spicy chicken. Look at wait, I have to show the people. Wait. Let me show. Xena, leave it. Look at it's got pickles on it. Okay, there you go. Jesus. Halloween 13, and I'm at 15.08%, and that was a moment. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. Again, sorry for the glare. There's really not much I can do about that. One over 1, 28 count. I said. No, I lied. 1/1, 18 count. Jesus. And I'm going to need the board for this. This is where I am. I did all of that side. It's looking really good. And that's more true to color back here, but it's looking good. I like it. Okay. Next is, ooh, this was a new start. This is when I think of chocolate. I'm trying to get my notebook. Okay. That I used for the C in chocolate. One of the C's in chocolate. It is by Pentini Pentini. It was, I think, one of the this last market, the online marketplace releases. So that's what it will look like. And I'm doing it 2/1 on 14 count. Some kind of mystery purple opalescent Ada that I had in my stash. And that's where I got to. Did a center start. I had such a good time with this. It was so fun. Look at the little strawberries and the cream. And this, I did start the mug up here. Oh, I used, I'm using the called for colors, but I did, instead of the black, I'm using Etoile, DMC Etoile 310 in black. So the word chocolate will be a little bit sparkly. Okay. This was day 1 and day 2 of my deer sightings. This is Midwinter Mush Bloom. Xena. You heard. Why can't I find? Here we go. I have 1,465 stitches out of 3,173, and I'm at 46.17%. It's by Noctiflora Designs. This is what he will look like. When he's done. And I'm stitching this 2/1 on 18 count Ada in the color Maelstrom by Chromatic Alchemy, who unfortunately is no longer dying. They're no longer in business. So, and this is where he is. So, the last time I showed this, it was basically the outline, the white cream part of the mushroom, the eye. So I have done the eye, I have done both antlers, I've done this bit down here of the mushroom, I've done this whole tree, which still isn't done, but everything of the tree that you see I've done. And a little bit of like the outer edges of the mushroom. This is so well charted. Like, look how gorgeous that looks. So pretty. And I love that fabric. And I'll have like a whole nother half of that fabric to use for something else. This was a new start that I used for the E in chocolate. It is Eggnog Latte by Shannon Christine Designs. This is what it will look like. I love it so much. This is very Yule-y to me. I know most people who look at this see Christmas, but it's very Yule to me with the poinsettias and the holly. They are very big Yule symbols, meanings. They're very meaningful to those who celebrate Yule. Um, and I'm doing it 2/1 on 14 count black Ada, and this is where I got to. Obviously, my fabric's folded up, so it will fit. I had such a great time stitching this too. It's kind of washing it out a bit, but there you can kind of see a little bit better. I had such a great time stitching this. Like these little bobbles will charted so well. Gorge. Okay. Oops. The Talisman, aka Croana. The Talisman I stitched for the T in chocolate, and I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. But I call her Croana. This is artwork by Lisa Parker, charted by Hade. This is the project. This project is the reason I do full crosses on all of my full coverages from now on. I originally started this doing 10 stitches and absolutely hated it. And I was about 30% in, maybe 35%, I don't remember. Yeah, why can't I not find this? Oh, there it is. And stopped working on it because I hated it so much. And it got to the point where I loved the piece, and it was either UFO it and just be okay with not ever stitching it or restart it. So I restarted it. I'm doing it 2/2 on something. 32 count? 32 count even weave. And I have 8,592 stitches out of 71,136. I'm at 12.08%. And this is what she will look like. And her name is Croana. So if I ever refer to Croana, this is who I'm talking about. She's Croana. So I had restarted this, like I said, full cross, 2/2. And then when I restarted it, I was not doing diagonals yet. But then when I did pick it up this last time, I did decide to start converting it to diagonals. So, oh god. Let me just show you the whole thing first. This is what it looks like as a whole. This is the mini version. This is not the full version. This is the mini version. And I still think, like, look at that detail, even on the mini. It's gorgeous. Like in the stonework, beautiful. So now, what did I do? I came over here and did, pardon me, fabric. Okay, so I know I haven't come down. This I had already done. This was already there. So I started converting it to diagonals. So I filled in like this diagonal here and then started on this diagonal, which will take me down in here. So that's where I got to on that. I love this piece. Again, it's one of those things where this piece is why I will not do 10 stitch or half stitch. I learned my lesson. I gave it a go. I absolutely hated it. I hated how it felt. I hated how it looked. I hated stitching on it. And it was, do I want to finish this piece? Do I want to stitch this piece? Yes. And therefore, I needed to restart it, even though it was so far in. I still have it. I can show it to you. Oh, God, there's like chocolate on it. Look, I saved it. I saved it to remind myself why. Never, never again. That's how far I'd gotten. It looks alright. Like, it looks alright from afar. But up close, it's bumpy, it's bubbly, it's like so thick you could like, I don't know, suffocate someone with it. I couldn't stand it. I was struggling real hard to just get the needle in around the stitches. It's terrible. It looks, from afar it looks great. Like if this was finished and hanging up on the wall, it would be fine. It looks fantastic. But up close it looks shite. And I wasn't about, I hate it. And even though it would have looked okay from afar, finishing it would have been an issue. And even if I did finish it, I wouldn't have wanted it on the wall because I just would have been reminded of how much I fucking hated it. So I keep it in the drawer to remind me never to make that decision again. If I'm ever tempted to do 10 stitch or half stitch, just pull this out and nope. Other people love it and it works for them and that's great. This isn't like for other people that, I'm not saying no, you shouldn't do it. I'm saying that for me personally, I hated it and that's why I will never do 10 stitch again. Okay. I've been tempted. Jen, the caffeinated crafter, does diagonals as well. She does 20 diagonals, 20 wide diagonals. And so for some of her projects that are 10 stitch, she does her 10 stitch the way I would do my 10 stitch, a bottom left to top right. And she has started on the right, top right of the piece and come down and done the half stitches and the diagonals from the top, from the right to the left. I've been tempted to give that a go. But then part of me is like, nah. All right, next is Coffee Dragon, and this is also for Clue. This, I did 300 stitches in it for Mrs. Peacock with the knife in the Coffee Dragon, which was not right, not correct. And is that the only... I think that's the only Clue I've done it for. That one. And this is artwork by Stanley Morrison, charted by Pain Free Crafts. This is what it will look like. It is not full coverage, so the gray background is not stitched. I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count something. It's some kind of mulberry or some kind of berry, mulberry I think, printed by Fabric Flair. This is Coffee Dragon, right? I have 686 stitches out of 86,444, and I'm at 0.79%. And this is what he's looking like now. Maybe. Let's bring that up closer. I did a center start. It's washing it out a bit. It's not this bright, I promise. It's still a nice bright red. Like, it's still bright, but not quite that bright. It is washing it out a bit. And so I just continued filling in here and kind of did more up here. So that's what that looks like. It was just that one pool for clue. So you can see some of the scales starting to come in. It's a little hard to see on the camera, but there's some blacks and browns and greens in there. And it's really pretty. And that's the center of him. So like the center, so it's like right around here. So I'm right. I'll be next. We'll get in a lot of this black in, which then goes down to the cup. Okay. This is literature. This is my kitted up piece. So I have a piece that I want to purchase, and I work on Literature by Luciana LaBelle to kit up to get this piece that I wanted. It had 96 colors, so I made 96 boxes of 100 stitches each. The boxes for the pattern and the boxes for the fabric. Each box is 100 stitches. When I finish all of the stitches on Literature, I can purchase Forest Friend. So as you can see, I was able to fill in a lot more boxes here. Excuse me. Let's see, I did. Let me do some quick math. I did 1,800 stitches on this. Oh, it's on this one. And I finished the next diagonal. So I am now at 3,240 stitches out of 119,448. I'm at 2.71%. And Tanya from Stitching Addicted is also stitching this. She's much further. It's gorgeous. I think she's at like 50%, something like that. It's so pretty. She's why I bought this. Seeing her do it is why I purchased this. It's charted by Pain Free Crafts. Artwork is by Luciana LaBelle. And I am doing it 2/1 on 18 count. And that's where I got to. Top left, you can see the bookcases. It's so funny because like when you're up close to it, it just looks like lines. You're like, what the hell? But then from afar, you can totally see it's the bookcases. It's books on the bookshelves. It's so funny how that works. How, you know, when you're stitching something and you're up close to it, especially full coverage, right? You look at it and you have no idea what it is. It doesn't look like anything. And then you back away and you look at it and you're like, oh, well, that's fancy. So I can't tell you where I worked. Obviously, I finished this last diagonal. I think I might have done some in the previous diagonal as well. Sorry, I'm really stuffy today. So, I love this. So that's just when I feel like working on it, I work on it. And every 100 stitches, I check off a box. I got that idea from Siski Stitches as well. I love her. She's great. Oh, we're getting to the end, y'all. What is this? I don't know what. Oh, this is a piece I charted myself. Hold on. This is. I have no idea how to pronounce this, so if I offend anyone with my pronunciation, I'm sorry. Um, Elian Donan Castle. Donan? I purchased the Shutterstock license. It's a photograph, and I charted it. This is a clue piece. So I stitch it for Mr. Green with the wrench in the Aline Doning Castle, which was not the murderer. Is that the only clue I've stitched it for? Must be. This go round. No, there had to be another one. I think I stitched on it twice, but now I don't know. I don't see it. It doesn't matter. I did stitch on it twice because I wouldn't have done this in one go, because for Clue, nothing in Clue has this many stitches. I have 768 stitches out of 212,800, and it's, maybe I did it beforehand. Like before, for Clue, before in my last video. I don't know, but I don't remember showing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's how many stitches I have at it, and I'm 0.36%. And like I said, I got the license for this from Shutterstock and charted it myself. Takes a little while to open. Pardon me. Do, 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 do. This is what it will look like. It's so moody, and I love it. So it's going to be a lot of sky to start off with, because again, I did a top left start. I'm doing this 1/1 on 28 count. Full cross in the diagonals, and this is where I got to. Lots of sky. Sky, and more sky. But it's really moody, and I love it. So that's that one. So like I said, that's a clue piece. You'll see that again. This is Yule Goddess by I know this. Tiny Modernist. Oh, I forgot to put the Castle's card back in its bag. Okay, by Tiny Modernist. And I stitched this for the T in Broomstick for Tiny. And this is what she will look like. I have 494 stitches out of 14,888, and I'm at 3.32%. This is also one of my deer sighting pieces, but I didn't stitch it for that. I stitched it for the T. This is what she will look like. It's washed out a bit, but you know, can't do much about that. That's what the picture is. And I'm stitching this on the October Fabric of the Month from Oak Crown Studios. It's called Butterscotch, and I have 32 count Lugana. Stitching 2/2, and I'm using the called for colors Except, and you aren't really going to be able to see it because, you know, it's not going to show up in the camera. But I used for the moon, and I used a DMC, a toile white. And then for the hair, I'm using a strand. So there's two different colors in the hair, right? There's like the darker kind of highlight color and then the lighter color. So for the white, I'm using a strand of white and a strand of the white toile. And then, I forget, is this 3024? I think it's 3024 that it's called for. And I'm using a strand of that and a strand of DMC Ecru, a toile. So there's a little bit of sparkle in the hair, but it's not, I didn't want it to be as much as in the moon and the stars that I'm going to do. So that's how far I got. This was a new start, so I did all of this. I think it's going to look fab. The fabric is washing out a lot on the camera. It's very, yeah, like orangey, butterscotchy, caramely. It's really pretty. Okay. This I used for this is In the Gardens of the Moon, and I used this for the eye in Thriller. Artwork is by Stephanie Queeman Law. It's charted by Hade. And I think that's the only one I used it for. Excuse me. This wasn't one of my quick new starts I did back in May, so I only had like 200 stitches in it. And I really wanted to get more in it because I love this piece. So I did start converting it to diagonals, and I now have 951 stitches out of 275,625. I'm at 0.35%. And this is what it will look like. Top left start, so I'm up in all the this bit up here. And I'm stitching this on 1/1 on, I didn't write the count down, 25 count, 25 count vintage smoky white, so that when I got to all the white on the flower, I wasn't stitching white on white. And I have enough of border that, you know, I'll be able to get when I do get it done and send it to a framer, that you'll be able to see some of this nice fabric on around the outside. But that's where I am now. So I really had just kind of like, literally, it was like 200 stitches. So I finished converting first and second diagonals, and then I have started on the third diagonal. So this is a good example as well. You can see I am now starting to work in my parked threads for the third diagonal here, and doing cross country and then parking it. This one is parked in the fourth diagonal. It's gonna look gorgeous. It's gonna look stunning. Yeah, it was one of those that I did for the Phantom Stitching Central group back in May. I did so many new starts, and you had to put 200 stitches in each new start, and so then I hadn't touched it since then. And that's why I'm liking these words that I'm spinning, because it's getting me to pull things out that I really want to work on, you know? So pretty. Okay. Now, I just realized that there are some things downstairs. There's still a piece down in my studio that I was working on that I don't have up here. There's a finish that I don't have up here. So we're just gonna save those for the next video. Two more pieces that I have right here. This one is It's Only Forever. Artwork is by Amy Stewart. It's charted by Hade. I used this for one of the O's in chocolate for Only, and one of the O's in broomstick for Only. And that's it. Oh, wait, let me get you stats. Where is that? There it is. I have 2,234 stitches out of 399,900, and I'm at 0.56%. I'm stitching this 1/1 on 25 count, and finished converting it to diagonals, and now I'm continuing on in the diagonals. So it's all background, it's all sky, like the sunsetty sky. So I finished this diagonal down here. I had like just this little tip down here to do, which I finished, and then filled in the part threads. Started filling in the part threads for this diagonal, so I still have these to fill in. So that's where that one is. Looking good. I love, like, again, up close it looks, you can really see the distinct colors, but then when you, excuse me, when you move it back here, it's so pretty. They all just blend in together so nicely. And this needle minder was a gift from Alara. A little extra dragon eye. So pretty. Thank you, Alara. Okay. Oh, and I also wanted to thank Siski Stitches. Siski, you're amazing, and you didn't have to do this, and I appreciate it so much. I did have for anyone who's been around for a while, knows I had a pattern keeper incident. Well, not a pattern keeper incident. I had my old phone that I had pattern keeper on bricked and is 100% useless, and I can't get anything off of it without paying, like sending it out and paying probably a couple $100 to hopefully have them be able to get some stuff off of there. So I've been in the process of and I've shared the story, and not for people to feel bad for me, but just to let people know, please back your stuff up in multiple locations, either on a cloud, email it to yourself, print it out. I don't care how you do it. Just make sure you back up your patterns, especially full coverage patterns that you're going to be working on for a while. So that if something like that happens, you don't lose your stuff. You don't lose your charts and, progress. Even if you do lose your progress, you still have the chart. You can put it back in, right? But if you can export your progress and save it into a cloud or something, that's even better. So I tell that story, again, not to have people feel bad for me, but just to kind of, it was something I had never thought of. So just to try to help people from, help so that doesn't happen to other people, right? If I can help, even one person from having to deal with that, then that's a success. So I've been going through, and pattern. They're ones that I'd collected for years. It wasn't just one or two patterns. There were quite a lot on there. Some I can't get back. Some are retired and are no longer available. But some that are still available from the various designers, I have gone through and am in the process of purchasing, and it's a lot, so I couldn't purchase it all at one go. And Siski was so kind and asked me two patterns that I had that I had not yet purchased back, and she was going to buy them for me, and one I had already started. It's one of my Kofi exclusive patterns. It's Good to Be Green by Randall Spangler, charted by Hade. And the other one is completely skipping my mind. It was a Stephanie Puiman Law one. So she bought those two for me and as a rack and sent them to me. So thank you so much, Siski. I wanted to say that last time and then I forgot. But I really appreciated that. That was so nice. It was so kind, and obviously wasn't necessary, wasn't expected, but it was just something she wanted to do for me, and it was so, so wonderful. So thank you so much. Okay, and then we're at the last one, y'all. Village by Tamiel Gross, charted by Stitches So Beautiful. I started this with Tanya from Stitching Addicted. Tanya has gone off with this, and it is looking fantastic. She started from the bottom left and has the whole bottom done, and the cobblestones, stunning, absolutely stunning. So I used this for the T in Thriller for Tammy, for the artist. I think that's all I used this for. And that's on here. I have 2,590 stitches out of 128,000, and I got to 2.02%. I'm stitching it whenever one on 28 count, and I did a top left start, and I did start to convert it to diagonals. So this is what I have. So I think I filled in whatever was remaining on this diagonal here and then did this diagonal. This stuff down here was already done. This stuff not in the diagonal. So I did like this. Oh, again, this piece is so moody, but isn't that gorgeous? So if you want to see what the bottom looks like, go check out Tanya, Stitching Addicted. And this is the tree, obviously. It's a tree on the top left corner, and then the lamp post kind of comes in sort of right here. This is such a gorgeous piece. And that's what I have stitched on. Since you have last CB, minus a couple pieces that are one finished and another piece that's still downstairs in my studio. And one that's on my stand right now that I'm not going to take off to show you because I'm not done stitching it. So let's go over the words I finished. I finished Thriller. I finished. Okay, let me start this way. I'm gonna say the word and I'm going to tell you what piece. Just go over what piece I used for each letter. Thriller was Village by Tamiel Gross for the T for Tammy. Halloween 13 by New Style Creation for the H in Halloween. R was Cliffs of well, I shouldn't have said that. R was my secret project because there's rocks in it. I can tell you that. I was In the Gardens of the Moon by Stephanie Puiman Law for N. L was Literature by Luciana LaBelle. The second L was Pisces. Oh, I didn't show that. It's on my, I'll do it later. I'll do it the next video. It's the one that's in my hoop on my stand that I'm working on at the moment because it's a clue piece today. But I worked on Pisces for the second L by Ruth Thompson because there's the links in it. E was It's Halloween Night by Eder Jose Rosa. And R was Nixie by Heather Kramer because of her ruffles. Okay. Broomstick was Heart of Black and White by Serkai Aquila Ink. B for black. Watchmen. R was Watchmen by Lisa Parker because it has ravens in it. O was It's Only Forever by Amy Stewart for the O and Only. The second O was The Favorite by Omar Rayan for the O and Omar. M was Pumpkin Dragon, which is the one that's down in my studio, by Stanley Morrison for the M and Morrison. S was Winter Wonderland by Philip Straub for the S and Straub. T was The Yule Goddess by Tiny Modernist for the T and Tiny. I was It's Halloween Night by Eder Jose Rosa for the I and It's. C was White Queen by Chris Ortega for the C and Chris. And K was Nixie by Heather Kramer for the K and Kramer. So I have finished 2 words. I have solved 2 murders. So my first murder I solved, I had Plum, Mr. Plum, Professor Plum with the candlestick in Pisces. Again, Pisces, I'll show you next time. Which was not it. Miss Scarlet with the lead pipe in the Donen Castle. Oh, there's the Donen Castle. Aline Donen Castle, which was not it. The Miss Scarlet and the knife in Old Fashioned Dragon, which was not it. And then we had Miss Scarlet with the knife in Moonlight Crop, which was it. The murder. So that was the first murder solved. And then the second clue, murder solved, I just solved this morning, but I haven't finished stitching the stitches on it, which is why it's on my stand. It's in the hoop. But first I pulled Peacock, Mrs. Peacock with the knife in Coffee Dragon. Then I pulled Mr. Green with the wrench in Aline Donen Castle, and it was Mr. Green. Then I pulled Mr. Green with the revolver in Moonlight Crop. Mr. Green with the rope in the Abstract Christmas Tree, and so it was Mr. Green and the rope. And then this morning I pulled Mr. Green with the rope in Pisces, and that was what it was. So I still am working on Pisces, but I did fill in the 2 murders that I solved. So Miss Scarlet with the knife in Moonlight Crop, and then Mr. Green with the rope in Pisces. So Miss Scarlet got another tick, and Mr. Green got a tick. So far we have Miss Scarlet in the lead with the most number of murders. That's just for fun. Okay. So every time I finish a word, I get a bobbin. I went over this in my 2025 Not Planny Plan video. And I decided to start it now and not wait for 2025. So it's a way to help me save and so I can still purchase things, but be more mindful about how and when and what I purchase. So I don't use bobbins anymore, but I have this tin full of old bobbins. So what happens is every time I finish stitching a word, I get a bobbin. Every time I get a finish, I get a bobbin. If it's not a full coverage. If I get a full coverage finish, every excuse me, every 100,000 stitches gets 5 bobbins. So let's say I finished It's Halloween Night. That's 100,000 stitches. I will get 5 bobbins for that. If a piece has 200,000 stitches, and I'm going to round down, so let's say it has 220,000 stitches, it will get 10 bobbins. Make sense? For every clue that I solve, for every murder I solve, I get a bobbin. So I so far had finished. I started this after I finished the first murder, the first clue. So I didn't give myself a bobbin for that. I didn't cheat. I didn't go back. I finished 2 words, and I got a finish. So I have 3 bobbins in here. Each bobbin equals $1. So I have $3. But I did just solve another murder this morning. So I get another bobbin. So I now have $4 in there that I can use to purchase things. So I do have a chart in mind that I want, which is with my discount is like $10. So I still have a bit to go. But when I get 10 bobbins in there, I can purchase the chart that I want. So that's how that's gonna work. Yay. All right. We're almost at 2 hours, y'all. I told you this is gonna be long. And like I said, I don't have time to go in and edit and put pictures in, so it's gonna be what you see is what you get today. Like I said, I do have a show this weekend, so I honestly don't know when the next YouTube Flosstube is going to be. I will put it up when I can. Like I said, this is my busy season. So from now until like the second week in December, I will put Flosstubes up when I can. I can't tell you how often they will be or anything like that. I will put them up when I can, and they're most likely all going to be long ones like this because it's probably going to be a bit in between each video. So there's that. I do want to, we go away for the last 2 weeks, for like the last week in December and into the first week. We're leaving the 21st of December. Let's put it that way. And we're going away for 2 weeks for our vacation. So, I want to also, in all this time, want to try to film my end of year whip parade before we leave, because even though we're driving, I cannot take all of my whips with me. There's way too many. I have 106 at the moment whips. So I want to try to, again, before we leave, film the end of year whip parade videos, plural, probably. So I can either get them up before we leave or schedule them before we leave. So that also might take away from a Flosstube within that time. But yeah. So there's that. So thank y'all for tuning in today. I just don't even know. It's a time. It's a mess. I'm all caught up. I know I'm caught up with my candles that I need to make for Saturday. There are still some wax melts that I want to make, some skull wax melts, and I want to make more candle coasters. They're buried. I crochet little coasters out of cotton. Out of cotton. I still need to weave in the ends. For my candles. So you can put your candle on top. Just something a little extra, something fun. So I want to make more of those before the weekend, and some wax melts. But other than that, I'm caught up with the main thing, which is the candles, which is nice. So, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And, I'll see you when I see ya. I don't know when that'll be, but I'll see you when I see ya. And until then, happy stitching. See you later, my friends.